Okay, Owen, top 5 types of pie. Go ahead.
Healing pie,
That's number what?
1.
That's number 1. Okay.
Okay.
Number 2. Not like a chocolate cream pie or something.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah. Anything's on the table. You can pick
Pudding
your own
pie.
pies. Pudding pie?
Is number 3.
Chocolate pudding?
Pudding pie is number 3.
Okay.
Apple pie,
Is?
number 2.
Okay. What type of apple pie?
What do you mean, what type
What's the
of
difference between apple pie and Dutch apple?
I've never heard of Dutch apple. I don't
They
think.
have at Publix. Dutch apple pie.
I've never heard of that.
Let me look it up.
I just like apple pie with apples in it.
Okay. 4.
Pumpkin pie.
Mm-hmm. And then number 5 is...
Number 5. Cherry pie.
Okay. Over, welcome to the Experience Podcast with me and someone else.
Hi.
And I am with
Me.
someone else. And I tricked you into coming on.
You did.
Well, you agreed to it.
Very reluctantly.
Why?
I get stage fright.
Well, there is a very there's some burning lights right now.
Yeah.
By that I mean 1, and we may have like 5 different motorcycle chases going on in the background.
Yeah.
Even though it's pretty late. How often do they go out? Like,
All day long.
all night long?
All night long.
Was it a lot last night?
Mostly at night.
Was it a
at
lot
like
last,
4
Was it a
a.m.
lot last night?
I think so. If it's not motorcycles, it's usually people screaming.
Why are
You
people
have to
screaming?
check
What do they
outside if they're dying or not.
do? Are they?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? Do you do anything about it?
No, they got it covered. It's fine.
Okay, well, speaking of dying, you and I, you who is not named,
Okay.
and I just finished watching the 5-part miniseries on HBO, and it is called Chernobyl.
Total disaster.
Oh, no, it's called Chernobyl. Oh, that's
It's a
the
very good
subtitle.
show, but
That's
it's
the
total disaster.
That's the subtitle.
No.
It's just called Total Disaster.
That's just what it is.
Oh, okay. So what? So how much did you know going in about this event? Because so obviously this miniseries covers the events of the Chernobyl total disaster, as you call it, in the 80s in the Soviet Union, right?
Yep.
Which is one of the I don't know if it was the first one, but it was the first big nuclear power plant disaster,
Okay.
right? Was there another one before it?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, maybe there were some smaller problems, but this was the first big one.
Hiroshima, Nagasaki.
Nuclear power plant, I said, not nuclear disaster. Nuclear power plant disaster. The first one that was publicized. Okay, so yeah, how much did you know going in?
Minimal, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I know that
It happened.
melted down.
It happened. It was a thing.
Yes.
we moved on.
Thing I didn't know the underlying causes.
Okay, and
or
so
the
like,
aftermath.
and so yeah, we just finished the last episode, but the first episode starts right there, right after the explosion, right?
It was like,
It
yes,
starts at the explosion.
yes.
And you can see the people scrambling. You got the, I think he's like the second engineer, the guy who's in charge on the night shift.
Supervisor.
The supervisor, but he is like the second, and like the first engineer is the other guy with the
Yeah,
glasses.
he doesn't like stand watch or anything.
No, but I think he handles like, or you think he's an administrative thing, because the other guy's the director, right?
Sure.
The guy who's definitely not Russian is the director guy.
Okay. None of them are Russian.
None of them are Russian.
Or British.
Yeah. No. The supervisor looks the most Russian of those 3. There's 3 people that are like the supervisors that are kind of the main scapegoats, I guess, in this case, right? You have the director with the big hair. He's like the director or manager of the.
Yes.
He's like the manager of the plant, and you have the chief engineer, who's the other guy,
Okay.
also in the bunker, and then you have the second chief engineer. I don't know what it's called.
I don't know.
I can find that.
But they all have British accents.
They all have
so
very British
they're not
accents.
British.
Was that a problem for you?
No.
Did that throw you off a little?
I would expect
because-
them to have Russian accents, but that's hard
It
to
was-
come by
it was
for a British cast.
But it was like once an episode they would say something in Russian, and it was just a little weird.
Well, yeah, you gotta throw some Russian words.
Yeah,
in
just
there.
so people are happy. And did you let's see, the director, assistant chief engineer. Yeah, that's what he is. He's the assistant chief engineer.
Okay, I don't know. I don't remember their titles.
Well, anyway, the point is, those are the three kind of people that, and you can see in this final episode, they have that flashback scene, like 12 hours before.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead and describe what happened.
I don't remember. What are you talking about?
When they're in the office, remember the guy? So the chief engineer is like talking to the assistant engineer, chief engineer, and he's like, if we do the safety test, if we get this successful, I get a promotion, you might get a promotion.
Okay.
I know you've been looking for that, and so you can kind of see the underhandedness of this. They were just trying to get out these safety tests just so they can, in their own self-interest,
Okay.
and that kind of started the chain of events. Because then you can see in the fifth episode when they flash back to the actual day, because they go over, the episode is a trial episode, right? They go over what happened at the plant that day. They show how the assistant chief engineer, the supervisor at the time, was like saying, "Oh, just keep pushing. I know it's safe. Just keep going and pushing everything," because he wanted that promotion.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
What?
and you can kind of see how every single person in there had no idea what was going on.
Yep. Classic.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you have any other thoughts about did you like how they framed it, where they should start with the explosion, then they go into the aftermath for the next 3 episodes, and then in the final episode they kind of go back and show you what happened leading up to the explosion?
I think that was effective.
Mm-hmm. Would you have preferred it as a little more linear, or did you think it was a unique? Because you kind of
Well, you gotta start the first episode in an exciting way.
Mhm.
So, what's more exciting than a nuclear explosion?
yeah, and I kind of expected them to have like the first episode be what they showed in the flashback, just the build up. And then
Sounds exciting.
and then like the explosion at the end of the first episode. So then it's like, oh no, what just happened? To lead you as like a
Well,
cliffhanger.
there's some details like about the explosion, like who was involved, what happened,
Mm-hmm.
like, and all the immediate aftermath that, like, was found out why that happened later on.
Yeah,
So
I
you kinda
understand
had to
it.
see that first.
Yeah, you know, I understand why they did what they did. I said after I saw like the next few episodes, this just going in, I was surprised that they started right at it.
Gotta start with the bang.
Started the bang. Well, that's what happened. Yeah, again, you could see like they kept saying in the. What about the reveal about the flaws of the reactor itself, and that it maybe wasn't entirely their fault because they were thinking, all right, we have a failsafe, but they don't, because the button doesn't work. It actually just explodes it's a detonator at that point.
It's kind of important for
Yeah,
a nuclear engineer to know.
it is. But the
Right.
Soviet Union kind of hid that because they didn't want to. It's kind of it gets into a deeper conversation about pride
Mhm.
and how the Soviet Union is all about it. They talk about it. Their power is about showing how powerful they are. That's where their power comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And so they couldn't have that little, oh, by the way, we screwed up. They just redacted. They redacted, what was it, 2 pages
Mm-hmm.
of the report. And it's something that, possibly could even happen nowadays. That's the danger. That's kind of what they're trying to say here, is the danger of lying in order to save yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to cover about Chernobyl? The series? I guess
No,
unless you
I
want.
think it was a good show. I think it's really gonna blow up.
It's gonna blow up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Second season.
I don't know what more they could do.
Do you think HBO should do other sorts of things like this, like other nuclear reactor explosions, like Three
It's a
Mile
very
Island?
niche community. 3 Mile Island is not that exciting. It is one little thing.
Well, you think it was? Did you think Chernobyl was exciting?
Yes.
Why?
It's the worst nuclear disaster in history.
Is it?
It was yes.
By what? They said, because they even said they couldn't even estimate deaths because of the
Yeah.
the
it's still
range,
the worst.
the mileage.
Like Fukushima was, pretty bad, but
Mhm.
it wasn't as bad as Chernobyl. But I literally went there
Chernobyl or
inside Fukushima.
Okay, talk
and I
about
didn't
that.
die.
Talk about that.
Can I?
Why not?
I don't know. I don't know.
Why can't you talk about that?
I don't know.
Okay, don't talk about
Secret
that.
stuff.
I think it's pretty public. You
So-
went there.
Yes, but that was like as part of a class trip.
So why can't you talk about that?
I don't know. Because the people that, like, I think it's TEPCO, or whatever company owns the reactors, they also have to clean it up, and they're very sensitive about how it's perceived. They don't want people spreading, like, false information.
Well, it's
Or-
the same thing with Chernobyl. There you go. That's spreading.
Oh yeah, but it's Japan, so I trust them more.
Well, because even like they kept saying, especially in the first few episodes, they're like, "Shut up, scientists! Stop trying to like spread false panic." And he was like, "Oh, by the way, this thing is super dangerous." They're like, stop it."
Hmm.
And so you can kind of it's kind of in it's hard to sometimes it's hard for scientists, people that aren't necessarily the best at that type of communication, to talk about the dangers. You know, you kind of need to be able to do it in a manner that non-scientists can understand. You can't just go up there and say everyone's in danger, we all have to run,
Okay.
because people won't believe it. Especially when they were getting mixed information, right? When they got the wrong reading, or it wasn't wrong, but it was not using the right meter for the radiation. But I wanted to go back to the show. What did you think of the firefighter and his wife plotline?
And that kind of died out. I guess because he died.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that? Is it a spoiler?
Yeah, it's a full spoiler review. You want me to put that in the description? Spoilers.
should.
of
Spoiler.
Chernobyl? Okay.
Somebody died. Several people died.
Yeah, there were a few people that died. Well, they talked about in the epilogue, all the firefighter uniforms are still there.
Yeah. Can't touch them.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Which, as a firefighter, I mean, I guess
Too
you
hot.
don't know, but going in when you see, I mean, now
Well, they don't know because
at the
they-
time, yeah, at the
they
time
were
you
not
didn't
told
know
about the dangerous.
At the time you
things.
didn't know, but nowadays, knowing what we know, if it's like, oh, the nuclear power plant just blew up, probably shouldn't go head
there
first.
still would be people that don't know
It's-
because
even the guy that touched stuff. I mean, that's rule number one in life: don't touch things you don't know. The guy that touched the
who do you know that
graphite?
follows that though? People touch stuff all the time,
Yeah, you shouldn't.
and if it's not glowing, then people are not going to know.
People
that
still
it's
touch glowing
radioactive.
stuff. Watch any movie. It's like,
Okay,
you know,
well,
that's like a
that's-
meteor, and then the kids go over and they're like, "Ooh, let's stick my hand in."
Yeah, well, that's stupid, but you can't see radiation. You can't feel it unless it's really, really
Yeah,
strong.
and that's that. And they mentioned that it's like the you're yelling at us. They were talking to the scientist guy. That's his name. Like
Okay.
you're yelling at us about something that we can't even see. The dangers of something we can't even see. Or no. It was the it was the episode 4 when they opened up with that old woman in the farm, and the
Okay.
soldiers were like, "You gotta leave. We gotta get you out." And she's like, "I can't even see this threat. I survived here through all the other wars and stuff. You know, this is just something we
people
hear."
don't understand,
Yeah,
and people still don't understand.
they don't, and that part of that is because again, you see the meetings. I mean, I don't know how much they knew about those council meetings, but you see them. They say, "Stop trying to just spread hysteria." And sometimes you need hysteria. Otherwise, people won't listen.
Well, then there's also people today. There's those like activists that say no more nuclear power, don't build any nuclear power plants. There's gonna be another meltdown or something.
Mm-hmm.
Which nuclear power is actually pretty safe, especially.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's safe because it's all the other times it's fine. It's just those.
But just when
Few
it's not
times,
safe,
yes.
it's really not safe.
Yes,
And it could,
destroy
destroy
the world.
the world. Yeah. So that's kind of a warranted concern.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, nuclear power, especially in like here in Georgia, is like necessary. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's the baseline power. You can't get that much power with coal.
It's a baseline for a lot of North America.
Like you physically cannot produce the energy that we need without it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's just not enough coal power plants to produce it. So, like, what are you gonna do without nuclear power plants?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, the firefighter and his wife thing. Did you like? 'Cause I couldn't get into it.
What about it?
I was not. I don't know why. I should have been emotionally invested, but I just wasn't. I guess because I knew it was happening.
They're all gonna die anyway. They're very
Yeah,
stupid.
like as soon as the open, I think it's like one of the first scenes is you see her, like she's walking over and he's asleep in his bed, and you see her looking at him, and immediately you're like, oh, he's dead. He's probably going to the plant, and he's totally dead. So I guess it was hard for me to emotionally
I thought
connect.
since there was so much attention on him in the first episode, I thought he was gonna be in every other episode. Like, I don't know, he somehow survived because he was gonna be smart and didn't go or something. We went.
And then his wife, who was possibly the stupidest character in the show.
Why?
When with the
Okay,
hospital
that's pretty
stuff,
stupid.
when they kept saying first, and it's also you can kind of see at the time the nurses, they're walking around, they're wearing like a white T-shirt basically, not a t-shirt, but like a white jacket and pants, and that's their protective,
Well, they probably didn't know too much either.
Yeah, and they're not even wearing gloves. Like they're touching them, and they're not even wearing gloves.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you didn't notice that detail.
I guess so.
Which is funny because then the wife walks in and she's like, I just want to see him, and again she doesn't know because she just thinks, oh, he's just burned. I'm fine, I can touch him.
Mm-hmm.
But the nurse says 30 minutes. Okay, so she stays overnight, and
She's
then
not stupid. She just doesn't know.
yeah, she doesn't know.
Which
Well,
is
but
kind of
then,
stupid.
well, then they kept saying don't do it. Then it's you should probably not do
You
it.
don't understand why not to do it.
I
You
don't know.
think
And
they're just
it's
being
kind of, and they don't
overreacting.
really. I mean, I know you said the nurses don't know, but it seems like they knew something. They knew they were dangerous when they put them around the plastic. They're like, "Don't go near the plastic." They asked her, "Are you pregnant?" And she said no. When she obviously knew she was pregnant. That was the stupid thing.
Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, she's pregnant. We already said there were spoilers.
She's pregnant.
But yeah, when she goes to the hospital, or the nurse says, "Are you pregnant?" She's like, "No."
That was pretty stupid.
That was the stupid one. I understand that she wouldn't know necessarily, but and again, we know better now, so it's retrospective thinking. But
Most
and-
people still don't know the dangers of it.
of radiation to pregnant women, and they mention it. Did they mention? I think they mentioned it on the show. I don't know if I read this, but no, they did. That all the radiation that she absorbed through her husband went right to the baby.
Well, I mean, all of it. It's not like there's
Most
a
of it.
black hole of radiation.
No, but most of it.
But
yes.
it's just in front of her, physically.
What?
In front of her vital organs is a other mass.
Yeah,
So that's what's gonna hit. It's gonna hit that first.
yeah. And so the baby died, basically, a day after it was born, because of the radiation. And so, yeah, it's the dangers of not knowing, and luckily we know better now. Right? So it's not an issue. Okay.
Somewhat.
Is there anything else you want to cover about the show? We talked about that. And they didn't cover this in this past episode, but they throw in a new storyline. I think it's just in episode 4, with the recruit guy,
The what?
the with the military, and how they need to go kill animals.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that storyline? Because again, it was kind of an offshoot that they added. It seemed like fluff to me.
It's probably just to give a broader perspective.
Yeah,
of
and all these are
measures.
like individual.
So if you are a dog person, probably tough.
Oh,
thing to
don't watch it now.
Or a cat person,
There was
or some cats.
and yeah, I assume like all these things all these little vignettes in a way are representative of the larger scale, right? Like that woman is not the only woman that saw her husband. I'm sure there were,
Mhm.
she represents several people, and then they have a part, and I think again it's episode 4, which was there's a kid, I don't know how old he is, but he's young-ish, who gets, and it's kind of an all hands on deck military thing, right?
Okay.
No.
Yes. Sure.
You can say no. I mean, I don't remember everything exactly.
Okay.
And so they need extra people to kind of eliminate the radiation threat, and so they got to get rid of all the animals. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So they send him basically on a hunting mission, and this is a kid who's never touched a gun before, I think, right? Never been in the military, but he's got this pal, I guess. He's his new friend who he meets, who's like, "I got your back. Just do what I say. and you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes and he's really traumatized by having to go out there and just start shooting animals, and seemingly innocent, but we know, obviously we know, and they knew that, or I guess they were scared of the dangers of the radiation infected animals, right, on the ecosystem.
Correct.
And so they had to go shoot them down. Did you think that was an effective storyline, or was that just kind of extra stuff that they had to throw in to keep the runtime at an hour for all the episodes?
I think it's pretty well done. Is just to show you like everything they had to do. It's pretty historically accurate, so it's not like they just really made up a lot of stuff. That's what they did.
Yeah.
So they just showed it because it was pretty impactful, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That was well done.
Anything else? What was your favorite episode? Can you remember?
I can't remember that many things.
No? Okay. That's too much.
The first one was good, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All of them were good, but the first one was exciting because there was explosions and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
And you like the explosions,
I
right?
like explosions and nuclear.
There really was only one explosion. It's kind of the whole point of the show, though.
Yes, but
You see other things
they
that
showed
were-
many exciting scenes. It was exciting.
There was one. Maybe I'm thinking of a different series. I may be
About
thinking of
Chernobyl?
a different series, but there was one scene that was really tense. I don't know if it was the scuba scene. The diver scene.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that. That was kind of cheap, I thought, the way they did that.
Why?
So they end the third episode. Is it the second or third episode on the divers going down to, I forgot exactly what they were doing.
They had to hand turn all the pumps to release the water from the tank because the tank was full.
Because they got to get rid of all the
and
water.
It would have
Yeah.
exploded.
There's a lot of
steam or something.
you can't watch this series with while you're not paying attention. There's so much science mumbo
There's a lot of
jumbo.
details in nuclear science.
Yeah, if you're a nuclear person, nuclear science, nuclear engineering person,
It's right up your alley.
you're gonna love this. It's all. Yeah, I mean, even were you able to keep track of all the math and science?
Yeah, I mean, because I like nuclear stuff. It's cool.
Okay, it's cool.
It's cool.
Okay, I kept track of most of it, but there's some physics stuff that
It's above your level.
it's above my level. But anyway, yeah, the diver scene. So they go in and they dive in, whatever, and their lights go out, their flashlights go out.
Mm-hmm.
They're hitting it, whatever, and then it cuts. That's the end of that episode.
Yeah.
The next episode begins right with it. And they're like, oh yeah, we have a backup flashlight. It's kind of a weird, it's kind of cheating the tension. Before it was like, oh no, they're going to die in there. I mean, obviously it makes it more cinematic, but I don't know, I thought it was a little...
Well, when I saw that, the light go out, I was like, wow, that sucks.
Well, because aren't you... Because at that moment, you're like, they're going to die, and then there's no way in the whole... Then there's...
And there's a happy ending.
I mean, yeah, also
Sort
we
of.
know the ending, so it does release some of that tension.
No, I thought
but-
they were still going to die.
Well, they said two of them are still alive today.
Yeah.
And one of
pretty
them...
impressive.
They all survived after the dive. Which doesn't seem right. Because they were...
They were also wearing gear.
Not
And they were
that
only in
good
there
gear.
for a few minutes.
How long were they in there? I
It
thought it was
only
more
been
than a
few
few.
minutes.
I thought they made it seem like it was like a good.
But they did
20
say
to
that
30
they thought they were
minutes.
going to die.
Oh yeah, they definitely thought they were gonna die like the next day.
I thought the scene where they had the people on the roof shoving off
Oh yeah.
graphite.
Did they? I
That was
forgot.
pretty intense.
Well, maybe that was the scene I was thinking of when you follow that guy, one of the guys.
Yeah.
And then he gets his shoe caught.
trips.
That was the scene I was thinking of, where it's like, yeah.
He's
Where
definitely gonna die.
you
He
get-
probably died, but they didn't follow up on that.
They did, because there's too many people to follow up on. They have to deal with the
Right.
firefighter.
But he probably died.
Yes. But yeah, they show him in, and they only show that once. They only show one scene because there's only so much you can get out of that. But there's a lot of and you can see there's a lot of different pieces to this puzzle that they had to solve. Like you got to deal with this part. Oh, there's all this graphite on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of stuff they had to do, and I think that they talk about it. They just covered it right now, like the reactor. Do you think?
Currently, it is, yes. It's covered
it's just
by
covered.
like a structure. Like I think it might be like a lead structure or something.
Yeah.
that is just to contain it
base, yeah,
for
for 100 years.
until it decays basically enough where it's not
Safe.
as dangerous.
Mm-hmm. And you can still go. You can't go to, so within a certain radius of the Chernobyl plant, but you can get pretty close, at least closer than you would think nowadays, right now. Yeah, you think there's not going to be any other issue with that plant? The structure is going to stay intact and we'll be good to go.
I mean, it's a structure, so it shouldn't move or anything.
Well, I think
it's probably earthquake proof.
Yeah,
If they,
I'm going to say there's an earthquake or something.
if there's a nuclear project that costs $2 billion, they probably thought of
Well,
more
it's
complicated things. than
still
earthquakes.
Russia, so who knows what.
Okay, well, it's not the USSR though, so it's
Yeah, it's a little better.
different.
Yeah. They're not as
And it's probably like
secret.
under a lot of UN regulations or something like that.
Do you think? Because the guy literally lied to the UN, not the UN at the time. I guess it was just the world, right?
But it was completed in like 2017, so
Yeah.
there's probably a lot of oversight internationally.
Yeah, because this could be an issue. I mean, I'm surprised that they were able to keep it fairly.
Well, somebody told me that
Continue.
so when it exploded, there was a bunch of radioactive dust that
Yeah,
went into the atmosphere,
get
and it's
carried.
still up there
Yeah.
today, and it's just floating around, and could still like come down and just kill people.
Yeah, but we don't know how to remove it at the time, right? Right now.
I mean, it exploded, so you couldn't really do anything about it.
The dust, I mean.
Well, yeah, that was as a result of you can't really contain that,
Yeah. So,
but somebody's gonna be screwed someday.
well, probably you.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else you want to cover about Chernobyl, or we can move on to something else?
What else?
We're going to talk about the other show.
Oh, there's another show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to move on to that show. So the spoiler ban on Chernobyl is done, so you can come back. And now we're going to spoil Big Little Lies,
Okay.
which was supposed to be, some background, supposed to be a miniseries. It's based on a book, on a novel, by an author.
I don't know the author.
Yeah.
I don't know how to read.
Yeah. You didn't read the book.
No, of course not.
No, I didn't read the book either. But it's an HBO series that turns into a real series now, a full series, because they're making a second season, which I think the author is still going to contribute toward. She's just not writing a new book for it. It's not like Game of Thrones where she writes a book to go along with it. But I think I don't even know if the author was a woman. Whatever.
Yikes.
Yikes. Okay.
Okay.
Scratch that. We'll edit that part out. We won't.
Okay.
Anyway, so are you excited about this second season to Big Little Lies? I know you had mixed feelings about this first.
I don't know if the lies will get bigger or smaller.
Or smaller.
So I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I think they're going to have to get bigger.
I guess.
Go big or
that
go
would-
home. Yeah, you
well,
can't make them
sure.
smaller lies. Did you think the lies in the first season were more big or more small?
Like what lies?
The lies.
Some of them were little, some of them were
Mhm.
big, some of them were, I would say, medium
And this,
sized
okay,
lies.
so I told you about this
Extra
series.
medium
I
size.
said this was a series that you might like. There's pretty people on a nice landscape in a nice beach
There's a
town.
bridge in the
There's a
intro.
bridge, and so the intro, the opening theme is like very kind of. I don't know. Do you like the opening theme?
I like the song.
Yeah.
I like the bridge and the beaches.
Mhm.
It's pretty.
Anyway, yeah, that was the selling point. Did you think that they were going to have? Because there's some pretty serious and dark themes in the series.
Such as.
Well, each of the women kind of have a dark history and maybe current situation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, some more than others, obviously. Madeline, who's the character
Woman.
played by Reese Witherspoon, kind of has the easiest life. Although she still has her own problems. I don't want to downplay her. She has her divorce she's dealing with, her daughter who's going through
Some
adolescence.
like pretty big problems.
Mhm. Her other daughter who's got to deal with first grade.
It's a big grade.
Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of dark themes in the show. Did you expect that? Because I don't think I told you about that going in. I mean, maybe I mentioned that
Well,
there was
it's
some.
kind of implied by the title, Big Little Lies.
Well, but you couldn't have expected things like the things that you saw.
Guess not.
And were you okay with that? Because I wasn't
Was
sure.
I okay with it? It's more exciting.
Okay, so you did like that it was.
I mean, it's not good.
Not good exciting.
Those problems are not ideal for
Life.
your life situation, but
But it's realistic in a way. You know, those things happen.
Story.
Mm-hmm. There's a couple twists, I guess. There's the big reveal as to. There's two reveals that need to happen in the series. There's who is the father of. What's the kid's name?
What kid?
The kid who
Ziggy.
Ziggy, yeah. Who's Ziggy's father? Right.
Okay.
And then who is the one that dies in the final episode?
Correct.
Those are kind of the two things that you're battling, and you don't really know.
And who's the kid that's beating up the girl?
And who's that's true. And who's the kid that's bullying the other girl? So there's three reveals. Did you see any of those coming? Were you able to predict any of them?
Actually, no. But when I found out, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
They all make sense.
It was very well. It came together.
I think
well.
the who is Ziggy's father one doesn't come together as well as the other two. It's kind of almost a convenience
she
thing.
No.
Yeah, but
how do you forget that? But
well,
whatever.
Well,
Did
it was dark.
Did they ever meet?
I was gonna say I don't think they ever meet in the show, so they do get away with
small
it.
Town though.
It is a small town, but at least in the show,
he's always gone on business trips. So.
Yeah, oh yeah, and in given his behavior in the series, you can kind of expect that he hasn't been the most faithful, husband as well. And that or at least he's upset at home, obviously, what was going on, and maybe he used the business trip to explore other avenues.
Mm-hmm.
And the behavior that Shailene Woodley's character, I forget her name.
Who?
Ziggy's mother. What's her name?
I don't know. Ziggy's mom.
Ziggy's mom. Shailene Woodley is the actress, so I know her.
Okay. The one that's okay.
Yeah.
That one.
The new one to town, right? She's the
Yes.
new. The way she describes Ziggy's father does make sense and is in line with the guy who they eventually reveal it to be.
Didn't see it coming.
You didn't see it coming.
Nope.
Well, I don't think. She didn't see it coming. She just happened to be there, and she's like, "Oh, it was you." And you can there's that moment. There's that kind of the show pauses, and you can see
a lot of eye contact.
all three of them.
mothers.
Yes, they all kind of look at each other and like, "Oh, we get it." It's kind of like that. The women sinking each other. It's like they kind of figured it out, and then but it is a very brutal and physical show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I won a lot of awards. Are you looking forward to the second season? Do you think it would work? Do you think a second season will work? Because they kind of wrap everything up.
Yeah, it's a big reveal. I don't know what else
It's
there's
done.
left to be revealed.
It's done. But you saw the trailer, right? Do you remember the trailer for the second
The
season?
trailer.
For the second
There
season?
was Mamma Mia lady.
Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep.
She's done a lot more than Mamma Mia.
I don't know. That's what I know her from.
That's not really her biggest role.
I don't know what she's from. I don't know.
A lot of stuff. She gets nominated for an Oscar like every year.
What is she from?
Meryl Streep is. We'll talk about it later. I'll show you her filmography, but it's like Samuel L. Jackson level.
Okay, well, Mamma Mia, her greatest hit.
Meryl Streep. Yeah.
Okay.
Her best
That's what
performance.
she's known for.
Okay.
She's in it.
Okay. And
She's on a hunt. Not really. She wants to dig in deeper. She
interested.
suspects the lies.
Yeah.
Because she's a mother too. She knows how the lying game works.
Yeah, which is interesting. Yeah, she's a mother of another generation, where maybe they're not as, what's the right word, catty, or maybe they're a little more upfront about the lies. I think with social media and the way we live now, people can hide behind things easier and hide behind lies, whereas maybe in her
big ones or little ones?
both. That's the
Okay.
point. Big little ones.
Right. Okay.
And so you can I think it'll be a nice juxtaposition between like these kind of younger women who are like, hiding behind these lies, and she's just like, just what's going on? And she's almost like the audience. she kind of represents the audience in the second season, who comes, new person who's like, all right, what's the deal here? What are we doing here?
Do you think she is like violent as well?
I don't think that doesn't make much sense.
It's only passed down in the male genes.
I was gonna say, but I think it would be. I think maybe she was the victim of that. Maybe she didn't go as far, or maybe she did. Maybe that's a reveal that she.
We'll find out.
Yeah, maybe she did the same thing to her husband. And so, like, maybe that's the big reveal. But are you kind of like? And you mentioned this off podcast earlier, but you felt that those reveals were what kept you watching the show, right? If they weren't there, if it was just about the moms talking about each other, you wouldn't be as interested, right? Is that fair to say?
Well, there's nothing like serious, like not a major issue. And it's just a bunch of gossip between moms. That's like, okay, what are we doing here?
With the whole
This is not a.
birthday party thing and the who bullied
Yeah,
my.
it's very petty.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just shows their character.
They
and how
needed that for the character
contributes.
development. Yeah.
Just like Chernobyl, all the little things
Mm-hmm.
lead to one big boom.
Well,
How I tied in.
that's the show this week. Thank you for coming on. Someone else.
You're welcome.
Would you want to do it again? No.
I don't know. Depends on the views.
On the views, if this
Mhm.
one blows up,
Yep. You know.
we need a really clickbaity title. So you have to help me come up with that. Okay. Well, that's it. That's this week's show.
Yeah.